Hello.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I just took a big swig of coffee.
Oh, I love that for you.
I
Thank
know.
you.
You got your iced coffee?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, it's not warm enough for that yet.
Well, it's the protein one I was showing you from Costco.
Oh, I need to get that.
So yeah. So I mean, serving
Yeah,
two purpose, like
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
filling me up and giving me that boost. We
What
love
is it
it.
called again? It's called Brust or Burst or
Yeah, something like that.
Brust from Costco.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Protein
20
coffee.
grams of protein.
Okay, I will be looking into that. I know. I just like everybody else trying to up my protein.
Yeah, same. Yeah, I'm on that journey as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's a struggle, but it's okay. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Um, okay, what are we
Happy
talking
Friday.
about? Happy Friday.
What are we talking about? Okay, so a couple things. Um, I think our members are really loving the conversation around relationships, as am I.
Same. And not just the members. I think we got so much feedback from our last podcast from last week. If
Right.
you're listening to this one and you didn't listen to the last one, please go back. It's really about like intimacy and like affection after like big life changes. That like
Mhm.
there was some juicy stuff in there and it really sparked discussions and interest. A friend of mine said that she was just saying how life was like so busy lately. There was some stuff that happened, and she was like thinking to herself, like, oh, like we really need like a proper date night, like to reconnect and whatever. And she got in her car, and that's what popped up, like that podcast of ours. And she was like, well, is like, if this is not like the universe talking
Oh,
to
the
her now.
universe speaking to her for sure.
Yeah, so she sent it to her partner, and anyways, yeah, we were just talking about that.
I
So
love that.
yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was some controversy in my couples therapy comment. So if you didn't listen to it, go and listen because it is very much my opinion, right? As we all have our own opinions. However, I do want to just stress that I do believe in personal therapy. Because I think people,
Yes.
I think I had some people say, like, therapy is great. And I'm like, absolutely. But I do believe the more we work on ourselves, the
Yeah.
better we are for our partner and the better the relationship is. Like, and your partner should be working on themselves as well, right? Like, it's both ways. And like that, I so much believe in.
Same. And I think, one person said a comment that like sometimes it's nice to have like a neutral third party to just like bounce some ideas off.
Yeah.
And I believe in that. I think that's like fair. Like sometimes it's just you're so caught up in your own stuff that
Yeah.
like having that external opinion from someone who's like not close to you, because sometimes the people that you have to chat about this with, they're like so close to you and
Yeah.
they
And
know what's
that
going on.
I do think that that is a small group of people that would go like that's I think is my opinion is that like I think that there are some couples who go for that reason and it's healthy and it's working for them like
Yeah.
sure, but I think the majority of people when they get to that point like from what I've seen when they get to that point there's so much resentment and there's so much
Mm,
hostility that's built up that
yeah.
they're not there. They're not where the other person is, where they just want a third party and they're just opening up the lines of communication and they're both so invested in making work. I do think that that is a thing and that happens, but I think that's a very small population of the people who are going to couples therapy. I think that a
Yes.
lot of people who are going, it's to really get validated in why they are so resentful. And I think it
Mm,
just ends up manifesting even more of that, like it
yeah.
just
Yeah.
perpetuates it.
Yeah.
But like, yes, we did get some feedback on that. And yes, there are people that find couples therapy successful. And I do think they're in that like smaller population group.
Mm,
And I think, I mean, if you find what works for you, I think that's great.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
All the power to you.
All the power to you.
Yeah.
So this week we wanted to talk about like I'm not sure how to word it, but basically what to do when like their potential is not like enough anymore. When you're maybe settling for something that, you know, deep down you're like being pulled to like step outside of, like,
Like you're settling for a love that you know you deserve more.
yes,
Like
yes.
you know that there's more out there. You know that there's more and you want that. And what I've seen so many times is that you want that love from that partner. You want, you know what, how good love can be and you know how you want to feel, but
Mm,
you want it so much from this one person, but it's
yeah,
not happening.
yeah.
And then a whole cycle brews from there. Right.
And
So I think that's what
yeah,
we want to dive into. We want to dive into like why women stay when they know
mhm,
that they are settling,
mhm,
and like what keeps them stuck. Yeah.
yeah,
Start there.
yeah. And I think there's like, I'm like thinking of myself, like, you know, way back when I was younger, like, if I was not like truly happy and like fulfilled in a relationship, I was gone. Like, I
Right.
did not think twice. I was like, I'm not staying here. I'm not
Hmm.
getting to this. Like, let's go, moving on. The pool of people is huge. Like, I'm not staying here. Like, peace out. And I was just like super confident in my decisions.
Yeah.
But I feel like when you're growing up and when you become an adult,
Yeah.
it is so much harder and scarier. It's like you have this like internal anxiety of like, oh my God, like I can't be doing this right now. Like starting over is like massive. Like
It's
moving
the,
something
and
new
yeah,
scary. Like it,
it's the investment that you've put in, right? Like, because to
oh
your
my
point, like
God.
when you were younger, it's like, and you were out there dating and you were going to parties and you were, like going out on a Friday night was every Friday night. And like, there was always things happening and people to see and things like that. But
Yeah.
as you get older and you're investing so much time, the idea of it's like any investment, like if you think about even like your finances, it's like nobody wants to walk away from an investment with no return,
Exactly.
like that's the last thing you want to do. And the time invested is a really scary thing because, it feels like such a loss. Like you almost have to grieve that when you've given so much of it.
Yeah.
But also, like the idea of starting over, like the idea of like, okay, well, now I have this baggage and now I have to start over. And who's going to want me? I have no idea who I am outside of this relationship.
Yeah.
And then if you even put in the extra layer of like, finances and kids and you can go really deep with it. Like there's so many things that hold us to something that isn't working for us. And I always say that to people who I'm talking to that are going through that, where they're really juggling, like, should they
Mm,
leave, should they stay? And they feel stupid because they're like,
yeah.
obviously this isn't working, like obviously all the signs are telling me, but I'm staying. And I want to just like shake them and say like, you are not stupid. Like
Yeah, exactly.
you have all these reasons that
Mm,
make it so hard to leave, right? Even
mhm.
though your gut and your heart is telling you, it's really hard in the real world when you're an adult to be like, well, my gut is telling me this. But yeah, like I said, all of our finances, our house, like our kids, all these things are
Our friend
integral,
circle, like,
right? And you
yeah,
feel like you need to validate to other people and justify like why, well, my gut is enough or my heart is enough to make
yeah,
all of those things less important. Not like your kids, obviously, but like,
yeah.
separating and custody and all that stuff. But like it's a lot. And so like you're not stupid for staying, but you do have to listen to the gut. Like
Mm,
all of that aside, no matter how important all that stuff is, like you
yeah.
do have to listen to your gut.
Because it's gonna catch up to you at one point or another. Like
Oh
for
yeah.
me, like thinking about my past relationship, like I was holding on to it for like dear life, not only because one, we were married, and to me, like, that is like, what's the word?
Sacred.
Sacred. Yeah. Like, I made that commitment. I said yes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to see this like through. And I felt like if I wasn't, like, I was not being like, I was not like owning up to my values essentially. And it was so
Right.
hard for me to like break that. And also, like, I was, I knew, in the last like couple years maybe of our relationship, that it wasn't like it used to be.
Mm.
I knew it was different. I knew I was different. I was wanting to be different. And I knew that if I took that route of truly being myself, I feared that it would break us, because I
Mm.
knew that the life that I was like being pulled into was different, completely different than what we had. And the person that I had been for like 8, 9 years. And so it was just so scary to me, because I knew what was going to happen. And I was also like holding on to like what the relationship used to be. There used to be so many good times and so many memories and laughs and
That's a big
love.
one.
And I was like, why is it no longer like that? Like, why? Like, is it like, do we just need to like get back to it? Do we need do like, is it just a disconnect that we need to like get back to? Or is it truly because we're like growing apart and we're at the end of it? Like,
Right. And that's such a hard place to be because,
crazy.
right, like I've talked to people who have been in relationships where it was never good. Right? Like if
Mm,
they really think about it and we've done like deep dives, like it was never really good. Like, and they've always had that inkling.
there.
But if you're coming from a situation like you, where at one point, even if it was short lived, like
Yeah.
whatever, it could have been years, it could have been 1 year, like it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
when you're coming from a situation where in that relationship, you did feel really good, you did feel really
Mm,
loved, you like all of the things, like it was real.
yes.
And that is a really hard place to be because, like, yeah, like, do we just need to work on things? Like, do we need to get back there? Like, and how much do you invest
Exactly.
in that? And then how do you know that it's at the end? And
Mm,
I was listening to something this week, and it was saying that, like, you know, you're going to change in your relationships. Like, me and my husband have been together for so long, like, as if I'm the same person I was at 16. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
right? Like,
Yeah.
but you yeah, you do have to change as you go, and you're not always going to change together. Like that's not real. Like you're sometimes someone's ahead, sometimes someone's behind, and you're always kind of just like shuffling. Um,
Hmm.
but like when you're having that issue with your partner where you're like, okay, like this isn't how it used to be. I don't know what to do. Like I heard something, I think it was Mel Robbins that had said, like, are you when you're in that state, like are you willing to stop complaining? Right? Like that's how you know if something is
Hmm.
truly a deal breaker for you or not. So like,
Hmm.
can you let something go? Like ultimately, like you might have those conversations with your partner like, okay, like, I want you to start taking better care of your health. Okay. And maybe that's something really, really, really important to you. And maybe your partner does not give a shit about that. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're like constantly eating takeout, they're drinking a lot, like the whole thing. And so, as time progresses and you're having those conversations and they're not receptive, like, are you willing to stop complaining? And if the answer is
Exactly.
no, if it's truly no, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you can't,
Mm,
beat yourself up about that. Like, that's a value for you. And if that is not being met, if your needs or your values are not being like aligned with your partner, like, that is a deal breaker. And those are the things that you need to really make note of when you're in that place of like, what do I do? Do we spend a lot more time here and start investing more? Or is this really it? You do have to make note of like, what are those deal breakers? And the deal breaker is, can you stop complaining about it? And I know
Mm.
for me, like, there have been times like with my husband that like the answer is no, I'm not willing to stop complaining about this. This is
Yes,
bothering me. Like, I
yes.
need this to change. And like, yeah, and luckily, thus far, you know, we've been able to make those changes together, but it is around communication and being very clear, like, what are the deal breakers and what aren't.
And I think also like when you've been with someone for so long, like maybe at some point, the fact that they were eating junk food and drinking every weekend, maybe you were fine with it. Maybe you were taking part of it. Maybe you enjoyed that. It was a period of your life where you wanted to have fun, you had less responsibilities, and it was you were having fun. Maybe that's how you bonded, even like
Yeah,
through parties and stuff. But then life happened, you evolved, you're starting to look at your life and really having an idea of what you want moving forward, and maybe that no longer fits in your values for what you want for your life. And so,
absolutely.
and it's okay, it's okay, it's just, is your partner going to honor that, and are they willing to make that lifestyle change? And if they
Exactly.
aren't, I mean, are you gonna step on your values and stay in that relationship because
Yeah.
like
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you think about me and my husband, like, we've been through every stage of life together, right? Like, we were at the bars. Like, if I think about
crazy.
myself at like 19, 20, 21, 22, like,
Yeah,
every weekend we were having drinks. Like, every weekend we were having a good time, friends over, the whole thing. Like, I'm like an old lady now. Like, I'm in bed at 9 o'clock. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not a drinker at all anymore. And
yeah,
it is something that like we had to navigate as we got older, especially as we started having kids and stuff like that. It's like,
yeah.
what is happiness and a normal routine, and what does that look like for me, and what are my expectations, and what are his expectations. And
Mm,
I do think that a lot of these things come down to, I say this a lot, like, it is around having the conversations. And for me, I think that that's like an easy conversation. And
mhm.
but the more I talk to other people, like, I recognize that, like, even just sitting down and having these conversations can be really challenging, because there is a fear on the other side that the partner is not going to be receptive and that there is going to be rejection.
Yes,
Hmm.
I had that fear because I knew something was wrong. I knew we had to have a conversation. I was feeling like something was wrong, like in my gut, like it was so loud, like that voice, like that's why I'm saying, like, if you keep ignoring that gut feeling and that little voice in your head, it is going to get louder and louder and louder until you like actually say like, okay, what is it that you're trying to tell me? And so I was really like trying to avoid it, like, not having that conversation, and it became so heavy. But I knew the moment I would open my mouth about what I thought was the issue and what was going on, it would make it so real.
Mm,
So
yes.
I was like,
You can't go back once you have
you
that
can't go back.
conversation. It's
Once
out
the
there.
words would come out of my mouth, I could not go back. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But like, I just could not take it anymore. Like, I could not live one more day with that weight on my shoulders. Like, the conversation had to happen.
Yeah.
And it did. And once the words were out there, my fears were like validated. It was in motion, like it was happening, but I was like,
Yeah.
holy fuck, like it was so friggin' scary.
Yeah.
So
But
scary.
like, I feel like in those things, like, it is like that feeling that you get, and like it's almost like forcing you to have that is like, I really believe, like, the universe
Yes,
forcing you. And
yes,
whether your fears are validated or not, like, it's the universe forcing you in the direction that you need to be. You know, like,
100%. 100%. And for like a year, I had a sore throat for like a year. Like I always felt like I had like a ball right here sitting.
your
And
throat
I was
chakra.
exactly. Like I've gone to doctors, like I've been to a like a specialist and like to get it checked because it was like so bad.
Oh my
And then
gosh.
he was like, there's nothing in there. Like there's nothing going on. Like you're good. Like,
You were
and
just being like strangled in that
exactly,
relationship.
because
You
I
couldn't
was
speak.
not speaking up. Like I
Yeah.
was not like saying what was like inside of me. And so like if you're not doing it, if you're not saying anything, like physically your body is going to start showing signs. Like it's crazy.
So what do you say about, this is like, again, like controversial. I definitely have my own opinion from my own experience, but like now you're a mom,
Yeah.
right? So you have Amelia, and
Yeah.
obviously like that is such an extra layer in terms of,
Yes.
wanting to make your relationship work, right? Because now
Yes.
it's not just affecting you. Um, like what are your thoughts on that around like when you hear people say like I'm staying for the kids? Like what do you think about that?
Oh my God. It's so hard. I feel like I'm like 50-50. I'm
Okay.
like on one side, like if we think about the child, it's like, yes, it's nice to have both parents in the same house.
Of course.
Like, shuffling them from one house to another, like I
Yeah,
find that could be like, I would get anxiety if I would have to switch houses every week and live in a suitcase.
for
Like
sure. For sure.
I would have a hard time with that. So if I put myself in the kids' shoes, I know that would definitely weigh on my decision.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, what do I want my kid to see? Do I want my kid to see a harmonious, loving relationship and like a happy household?
Mhm.
Or like a house where it's like cold, there's resentment, frustration? Like, do I want my child to see that I'm happy,
Yeah.
so that if they're ever in a situation where they're not happy, that they can recognize that and
Yeah.
make that move, have the courage to make that move? Like it's so, like
Yeah.
it's definitely an extra layer. And I honestly, selfishly, I think if I would be in that position, I would not want to share my kid. Like
Right.
the fact
That's a
that
huge factor. That's a huge
right?
factor for women.
That's
A
a
hundred
huge
percent.
factor.
It's a
Like
huge factor.
having my kid only 50% of the time, not seeing her for an entire week, that would kill me.
I know.
And so yeah, I really have so much empathy like for people
Yeah.
who do that, because I honestly don't know how,
Yeah.
what the decision would be.
So I have a really different perspective, and um okay, so let me see how I can word this. So like everything you just said, 100%. I feel like no woman, no parent, no mom or dad for sure wants to split their time with their kid. Like that goes
Yeah.
without saying. Like that is
Yeah.
a heartbreak that I really am cannot imagine, and I, like
Yeah.
to your point, like empathize so much with that decision. I've seen people that are very close to me have to make that decision and go through that process. And
Mm.
I will say, like, it does get better. Like, I just want to put that out there. If you're weighing this, like, the first bit of that is very, very hard, but it does get better.
Yeah.
It becomes everyone's new normal. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it does
Yes.
get better. So I just want to put that out there that, like, it is a terrible, heartbreaking decision, but after everyone gets adjusted, you get adjusted, and that's life, and
Yes.
it's all good. Okay. Um, my perspective is I've grown up and I had two parents that stayed together. Okay. And this is, I remember when I was growing up, like I had my best friends and stuff like that, and like, their parents would argue like any couple, right? Like nothing crazy, but they would argue. And
Yeah.
like if my friends overheard them arguing, they would get like really like emotional and scared, and they'd be like, oh my God, like I would never want my parents to get a divorce. Like, your brain
Right.
spirals, and it's like I would never want that. That would be like a nightmare. And
Yeah.
I remember being like, oh my God, like I would love that. Like I would love
Mm.
for my parents, and I would love for my parents to be happy. I would love
Right.
for my parents to, and maybe they would be happier with themselves, maybe they would be happier with me, like maybe everything would be better. And I
Mm,
remember as I got older, like I would say like 11, 12, like I remember being like, I feel like if they please tell me that they are not just staying together for me. Like, please don't make
mm,
me be the reason that this is our
right,
life. Like I felt like such like a burden
right.
that I was carrying all the time because I really felt like my reality and my home life was because of me, and
Mm,
that was the choice that they were making, and everyone was miserable because of it. And
right,
so I always grew up thinking like if my mom and my dad were just like living on their own and like yeah, just happy, like
thriving,
I would
yeah,
love to go to two different households and have, you know, a happy mom who was listening to
yeah,
music and was laughing, and same with my dad who was like would be more invested because it wasn't just like all this tension that he was running from all the time, right?
yeah,
So like that's my perspective like as the child, that I would never, because we put so much weight on like how are we going to affect our kids, right?
yeah,
Like if we do decide to make that decision. And so I just want to say for anyone who's like struggling with that, if that is the reason why you're staying, like I really think that you're doing them a service. Like a child shouldn't grow up in a house that's full of tension of that
yeah,
where they're not getting any examples of like, you know, love and like coming home at the end of the day and having hugs and like and seeing like I always would watch movies and TVs and like TV shows and like seeing parents that were like hugging and giving each other kisses and like stuff like that, and I was like, oh
yeah.
my god, what would that be like? But I would go to my friend's house and I would see that and I'm like, okay. And so I understood at a young age that like what that was should have been the normal, right? Like that's what was,
Right.
and that what I was experiencing wasn't. And so I knew from a really early age, like I didn't want that. And
Mm,
that's really helped me like navigate my entire life, to be honest. But yeah, I think that it's like all the things like I empathize with, and I've had people in my life that have gone through that. And it's an awful decision to make when there's children and finances and all those things. But
mm,
like
mm,
to what we were saying, it's like that feeling and that oh, it is almost like a disease. It's like
yeah,
it's so consuming,
so
and
consuming.
you just need to understand that if you do have other people in your house like children, stepkids, whatever, it's like that's disease, that feeling is not just affecting you. It is spreading to everybody else in the house.
100%. We
Yeah.
think the kids won't feel the tension. Like if
Oh,
the
there's
word
no hiding
being
it.
spoken, they they can feel anything. If they
Yes,
can feel anxiety when they're in your belly, like they can friggin' feel tension in a room. Like
exactly.
and
Exactly.
something else that I'll add to is like when you're often like we're staying in a relationship because we think that like making that move is going to be like climbing a friggin' mountain. Like we
Yeah.
see that move as something like massive. But from my personal experience, like what we see it to be versus what it actually is, it's really not that bad.
Yeah.
Like once you put the plan in motion, if it's truly what you're meant to be doing, if you're truly meant to like separate and go your own way, like things will line up and you will find a place to live. You will have everything figured out, like, and it's not going to be as complicated as you make it to be,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
I'm just thinking right now, like any man that's listened to the past two podcasts are gonna be like, okay, they don't want you to go to couples therapy and they're telling you to leave your husband. And that is not that's so not it. It's really about, it truly is about listening to your heart and listening to your
Yes.
gut and communicating. Like that is what it comes down to. And that is like we all know if we're with the right person. Like, does this person make us better? Does
Yeah.
this person want the best for us? Those are like two very
Mhm.
simple questions. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
if it's yes and yes, like then you put in the work, right? Like it's not going to be easy all the time. It's going to be hard. And, but if you can answer those two questions, like, then yes, like keep going, you know, like it's worth
Yeah.
investing in. It's worth going through hard times. And, but yeah, if if the person that you're with doesn't make you better and doesn't want the best for you,
Mm,
like, I would say that's a deal breaker, like,
yeah.
and you have to, and we hide from that. Like, those two questions are really important. And I feel like when we're so invested, we try to, like, hide from that. We try to make excuses, and we try to, like, we don't, yeah, we want to shy away from the hard questions because we know the answers.
Mm,
Right? Like, we
mhm.
know, and, like, to your point, like, when you had to have that conversation with your ex, it's like, once you, like, really truly acknowledge it, there's no going back.
No going
It is
back.
in motion. Like,
It's emotion.
yeah.
And like, over the years, like I had, and this wasn't his fault, it was truly on me. Like, I had really lost myself over
Yeah.
the years. Like, I was not taking time to really connect with myself, understand what I wanted out of life. I was just basically holding on to him and like letting him lead the way for so like most of our life choices. And so when it ended, like a few months later, maybe not a few months, maybe like a year later, once I started to like really get better, I remember my parents saying like, wow, you're so different. We feel like we found our little girl back.
Like, you were
Like,
lighter.
I was lighter. I was
Yeah.
laughing. I was bubbly. I was fun. I was making jokes. I was not so serious and like, I don't know, like it, and I'll always remember that comment because it was so like eye-opening to me. I was like, who was I all these years? Like, I was just basically like living in this like physical world, but I was not being like my true authentic self. And so,
Yeah. Well, it's
yeah,
because you were holding on to something so tightly, and I think being light and joking and all that stuff, like, I feel like it would, if you would have done that, it's like, it would have made it let go. Like, it would have made it,
yeah,
yeah, it's like you felt like you needed, it's like survival mode. That's just what it
yeah,
is. You're in survival mode.
yeah, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was. And so I guess the point is like, listen to your gut and like start living. Start like, you should not live every day with like questions. Like, you should,
No.
you should be happy. Get up in the morning and enjoy your life and be like, wow, I'm so grateful for everything that I have. Like, if you're not, like, start like asking yourself the questions as to why this is.
Yeah, exactly. And like we said last week, like, maybe start leading by example. Like, if you're wondering where to start and this feels like a lot, it's like, just lead by example. Like,
Mhm.
be the person in the relationship that you want to be, and what you would want to see in your partner. Like,
Yeah.
start having conversations, or like, if things feel really heavy, like, start lightening up, start going on dates, like, start having fun, like, just
Yeah.
be the change that you want to see in that relationship, and start to understand, like, okay, can this person change with me? Like, start,
Yeah.
having some conversations, start going from there. And like I said before, like, if you can't not complain about it, if you can't let
Yes.
it go, then you know
Yes.
what your deal breakers are. And then it's a different conversation.
Yeah, because I think like before throwing the towel, like you need to first see, well, if you still have love for that person and you still want to keep the relationship, like maybe like don't assume that they're not willing to change.
Exactly.
I think that's so important too. Like, be that change, like Paula said, like be that change, and like wait to see if they're going to meet you where you're at. Like, maybe they're just waiting for you to tell them,
Right.
to step up.
Right. And yeah, they can't read your mind. I wish they
Yeah,
could. Like, I wish there was a pill,
yeah,
but they can't. They certainly cannot. Be direct, say what you want, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
and yeah, have those conversations, but like, it's not, sometimes you do need to have the conversations, and then like I said, you need to lead. Like, me and my husband, we haven't changed at the same time all the time. Like, it hasn't been
yeah,
like that. And like, be willing to have the conversation about, like, what is the vision for your relationship? Like, what is the relationship? What kind of relationship do you guys want to be in? Like,
yeah.
I've had several of those conversations before around like, yeah, I want a lot of affection. I do want to have sex this much a week. I do want to, go on date nights. I do want to go on vacations together. Like we have a dream, basically a vision of our relationship. And like, that's what we're always investing in, is like doing that together, like getting there together. I think
Mhm.
it's important to like that you both have the same expectations and the same vision for your relationship.
Well, I think maybe that's the issue too. Maybe people don't have a vision of what they want their relationship to be. They
True.
start
Hmm.
off together and it just becomes the norm and it becomes a habit and it's just the day-to-day interactions. And it's like, no, but what, like, where are you seeing this going? Like, what's your goals as a couple? Like, I think it's so important to have goals as individual, but also as like a couple.
Exactly.
So good. So good.
So good.
So good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, that was good. We have a few more weeks left in the membership around relationships.
Mhm.
And then we are going to switch gears, but I feel like it's going to be a thread always. Like you had said, like when you're doing your one-on-one clients, like this is such a big piece of what people are bringing, that they want
Yes.
help navigating through.
Yes. Like, even if the client comes, like, they come to see me and they want to talk about, I don't know, like organization, like, or like their personal goals and they want like clarity or help, like navigating that, I always ask, how is your relationship going?
Mm,
How is the dynamic between you and your partner?
yeah.
How's the communication? Because if they're struggling here, I want to know that this part is good. This, like, that their partner is supportive of whatever it is that they're trying to accomplish. Like, and so it always goes hand in hand. So we
Yeah.
always somehow get into the relationship as well. So
Yeah. It's such
yeah,
a big factor for sure. So more
yeah.
to come.
More to come for
Yeah.
sure.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone for listening and we'll talk soon.
Bye.
All right.